The most awaited face-off between Sarada and Hidari has disappointed a lot of fans, as the speculations of Sarada being on par with the monstrous opponents have turned out to be false. The real reason she was able to dodge Hidari's attack is because he is not an expert at using the Chidori, unlike Sasuke. So was this moment the only spotlight that Kishimoto had secured for Sarada in the time skip? Well, what if I told you her Mangenkyo abilities can be the most broken things that we are gonna witness in the story? The enigmatic awakening of a samurai Susanoo, or maybe some abilities inspired from mirrors that can make her extremely useful to the plot. After all, she is the daughter of Kishimoto's favorite character, and the lore of her ancestors was the driving force of the OG series. But before we get into the juicy Red Eye awakening and the mind-blowing powers that come with it, let's get back to Hidari, as there are some visible dots which might link him to the awakening of Sarada's new powers. He seems to neither have any memories of his past counterpart, nor he is a pro at using his abilities. The Shinju seem to be learning everything from scratch, and the only thing that they truly master is apparently their Ten Tails powers. But the approach of Jura and Hidari towards their instinctual targets is a lot different than each other. At first it felt like the identity crisis of Hidari will make him seek answers in the environment by interacting with shinobis and their world. But surprisingly, it was Jura who ended up becoming perceptive of his reality, as he is certain that solving the mysteries of this world can feed his curiosities. But Hidari on the other side seems to be more focused on his instinctual goal, most likely because he believes his crisis of identity will be resolved once he consumes his target. He didn't even interfere in Jura's fight, proving that how self-centered he actually is. The fact that his memories share no ties with Sasuke or his abilities again enhances his curiosity for the truth. What in the world is he worth, and why did he come to existence at first place? I don't think his redemption would happen with just a single explanation of how he was born. There must be something more to his character that will revert him from the merciless hunt. The reason I'm telling you this is because it could be a vital point in Sarada's special awakening. I think he has already put an impact on her in the recent chapter. He questions Sarada who she is and what he is about to gain by devouring her. I think this must be a point that would turn on the bulb in Sarada's mind, as she would finally question her role and responsibility to herself. Just like how Himawari was aware of the huge obligation after getting her hands on a great power, Sarada must also realize that her role is not the same as some ordinary shinobi. Even Sasuke had put faith on his daughter when he was figuring out the topsy-turvy mess that's going in the world. He foreshadowed Sarada and Boruto being the keys to fixing everything, and now Hidari has made Sarada aware of the responsibility if only she's able to catch a hint. This must be the very first impact of Sasuke's clone on Sarada, and with the identity crisis that he's burdened with, I'm pretty sure he will somehow influence his target to unlock her true potential. It could even be that Sarada will get more limelight on herself by seeking her true role and responsibility rather than chasing mad powers like the Mangenkyo Eye. Now as for the actions of Hidari, that will determine the fate of Sarada and Konoha in the story. Till now you all must be knowing that he has no other intention except to kill and find what's true to him. But out of all the people in the world, why did he choose the person who was the most dear to Sasuke? Well, in order to understand the psychology of Hidari, let's take the example of modern technology. Let's say Code, as his name indicates, was a code to an AI program known as the Ten Tails, and after combining his DNA with them, the birth of some self-aware AI beings called Shinjus took place. Hidari specifically fed on the DNA of Sasuke, and Code's DNA acted as a key to his awakening. Surprisingly, his memories and motives were completely different than his human counterpart. But what if I told you a different story is about to unfold? Just like the AI, the Shinjus cannot expect to be perfect when a vital part of their existence was laid from a human being. Hidari's motives are to merge with Sarada, meaning that she has become his precious target. The last person who referred to someone as precious for ulterior motives was Momoshiki. He would never let Boruto die, because it's his only medium of survival, meaning that if something happens to Sarada, Hidari could get triggered too. But will this feeling of protectiveness stem from his urge of seeking answers, or an undercover uncovered emotional bond that Sasuke chakra has produced in him. The Shinju has no idea about his human counterpart. Neither he can properly use the techniques mastered by Sasuke. So even if there is an emotional residue left inside his consciousness, he might not be able to understand it. For instance, let's say Jura starts attacking Sarada. What could be the reaction of Hidari in this scenario? Well, he would put a step forward to protect her, and this would mark his first step to energizing the emotions of Sasuke. This is because these creatures are learning everything from scratch, and the sentimental outburst is not something that he will figure out firsthand. A big reason for this possibility to come true is due to the fact that Sasuke's legacy has been full of betrayals and redemption, and this could happen with Hidari too, since all genes are predestined. The subconscious influence of Sasuke on his personality could take some time to exhibit, but it's pretty much clear that he will turn a new leaf sooner or later. The trigger to redemption could be something as small as Sarada calling him dad when he comes to protect her, making him question the new emotional sparks that he had never experienced before. Now here comes the mind-blowing twist. As I told you guys earlier, Jura shows more interest in the world than his own worth. And do you know what that means? He could have manipulated Hidari with his Ten Tails power. That's right. He told him to not overthink about stupid things and focus on what's important. Hidari was ordered to devour the first person who comes to his mind, and he chose Sarada. Not to mention, these beings are said to be biologically one, yet their avatars differ on the basis of their creation. So has Jura misused this Ten Tails power to put odds in his favor? What if Hidari was never told to devour Sarada? How would he deal with her? I think they would most likely have a meaningful conversation that would eventually redeem the clone of Sasuke. But Jura doesn't want that. He wants the Shinjus to eat the only person who can bring them to light, and maybe this is why he's after Kurama's chakra too, cause he's himself a Ten Tails and can only be redeemed by a similar creature. A redemption would mean the death of their goals, which includes evolving into a more powerful being. This pretty much explains the whole Shinju plot, and let me know down below what you think of it. We will now move on to the next major peak in Sarada's life, the MANGEKYO miracle. Hidari tells Sarada that her Sharingan will help him to control the Chidori a lot better, and this information was given to him by, you already know, Jura. He seems to be playing a game among the Shinjus, but I don't think he's aware of a lot of things. Like the reason Team 10 fought so hard to protect Himawari, he doesn't understand empathy and teamwork, which is why if something has to happen to Hidari emotionally, then Jura would unexpectedly face a huge betrayal. Looking at how much things have messed up in the story at this point, a combined attack of all the Shinjus could be a game over for Konoha. But as we know from the first episode, Kawaki is the only one playing the villain's role, and as of now, he is just being disrespected like he's a fodder. Now notice a similar analogy in Sarada. Just as I said in the beginning of the video, it can't be that this moment was her peak into Blue Vortex. There needs to be something more, and looking at how far Kawaki went in the future, it seems like the more a character suffers, the deadly his power up will get in the story. And by this logic, we can conclude one thing: the moment Sarada will get a glow up, be it the Mangekyo Sharingan or something else, it will be huge. This brings us to the Yata mirror symbolism, a connection that I have explained plenty of times in my previous videos. As you must be knowing, it's an objectification of truth and justice, and earlier I was theorizing on ways for Sarada's Mangekyo to unveil the truth about omnipotence. But since Hidari is also seeking truth, what if the 8 mirror looking eye will do something to him? It can literally trigger the memories of Sasuke in him, making him come to the right path. This adds another reason to why Jura would have wanted to get rid of Hidari's instinctual target. Not to mention, this would also mean that Masuri and Bug will be redeemed by Konohamaru and Aida. So make sure to subscribe, as I will bring a full video on this topic very soon. Now since Sarada's Mangekyo is associated with a mirror, it's not unlikely for her to have powers that are also derived from a similar type of device. This brings us to Ishikore Dome no Mikoto, a Shinto kami associated with mirrors. In Japanese mythology, she crafted the elegant Yata mirror, which drew the sun goddess Amaterasu out of her cave, restoring light to the world. This theory points that Sarada's Mangekyo Sharingan Jutsu will be named after this goddess and could feature a mirror or reflection based abilities. This would provide a diverse array of functionalities and powers, potentially including access to a personal mirror dimension. She could enter the dimension at will through her mirrors or reflections, and even use reflective surfaces like water to do something similar to the mechanism of the Kamui ability. This could also explain why she is immune to Aida's omnipotence, since her reality is rooted in her own personal mirror dimension unlike others. She could even have some other mirror and reflection related powers that will, for the first time in the series, make the Mangekyo's ability relate to its original meaning, a kaleidoscope. It's a toy consisting of a tube containing mirrors and pieces of colored glass or paper whose reflections produce changing patterns when the tube is rotated. So Sarada's ability could be similar to this phenomenon, as she may be able to create infinite mirror clones that would be mere reflections of her true self. It's a symbolism to the phenomenon of two mirrors placed parallel to each other can create infinite reflections of the same object over and over till infinity. This could even be the key to defeating Daemon if he ever becomes the enemy of the leaf. He would be exhausted by reflecting the attacks of Sarada onto her mirror clones, as the reflections would literally never end. Talking about Daemon, it's also possible that she will be given a watered down version of his own reflection ability. Just like every ninjutsu stems from a shinjutsu, Sarada's ability could be a cheap copy of Daemon's power, with obvious drawbacks. This yet again proves the concept of the Mangenkyo reflecting the heart's desire. Sarada might be informed about the broken power of Daemon, which makes it pretty evident that how useful it could turn out to be. Now, as for why I think our Susanoo will have a samurai avatar, Japan is known as the land of rising sun, and a lot of portrayals of samurai have sun motifs in the background. The sun and samurai are used on par with each other in various traditional Japanese portrayals, and since Sarada's Mangenkyo is shaped like sun, it makes sense for her to have a samurai beast as the Susanoo. If you wanna know how time travel will be introduced in this story, check out the right video. Don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stuff, and I will see you next time.